Okay, so the first one is the first video is about the famous cropping. You always like if you take some photos, uh, it's basically like a lot of photographers use this. It says like to say, oh, you need to crop your photos, which is like remove the distraction. So on that note, first of all, is that let's go and see what it looks like. Okay, so in here, as you can see, very cute little photo, okay, of a great moment of a child. And also, if you look at this, what you want to see into your photo is basically, I want to see her. I don't want to see all this distraction over here at the back. So what you can do is that you can go to the develop module. You can press on D on your keyboard or just click on the develop module. Then you have multiple tools you can actually use. So the first one we're going to look is that we're going to use the crop. If you click onto the crop, you activate this. First part is just that you can actually just move if you want to everything that you want. Okay, that's one particular way to do that. You can also go into here and you can see, well, aspect ratio. So if you click onto this, it'll be like, okay, I can just click and drag whatever I want. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Or you press E escape to just restart. I'm going to press onto this one. Or you have original. You can say, okay, well, I want to keep the same ratio that I have. So you see that this is not locked right now. So if I click onto this, therefore, if I start to move, example like this, it starts to move in the same kind of ratio, which is like, I would highly recommend to say to you, that's the best way to do it. And that's the best way to start to cropping, because then you keep your famous ratio of the 4:3 or whatever it's going to be. So I'm going to go back and activate it. You can also have, like, I'm going to unlock this original. You can choose one by one and all these presets that you want to have. Like you see, like 2:3, 4:6, and all of those. You can actually enter custom. It's up to you. The main thing of cropping is just that you want to remove the distraction, and also you want to emphasis on one part. And if you want to, I know it's a lot of hands, but it's just that if you want to print those, if you keep the good ratio when you send it to the printing, or if you print it on your own, like the 4:6, well, you need to have your photo 4:6, otherwise it's going to look like, well, empty space. So in this case, I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to say keep the ratio just to show you. As I said, start with this one. And I just want to remove the background. So I'm going to go all the way down to over here and keep it like this. Now, mind you, because you're using Lightroom, which is really nice about Lightroom that we're going to talk about, is just that whatever you do as far as editing your photos, you never damage the original. So after maybe 5 years from now on, I come back to this photo and I want to see more of it, I can actually just reopen to my Lightroom and it's going to be reset. And then it's going to come back to seeing all the details into the back. So I'm looking at this one and it's like, okay, I kind of like that maybe, or maybe I want to see that she's actually framed. So you can actually just look at that. You can actually move it. In my case, I won't use this one because now I cannot move it too much. The actual cropping ratio. So in this case, what I can do is I'll show you right away. Then you can select press enter, and then that's it. But I'm going to use a different way. I'm going to unlock this, and I'm going to use on to shift if you want to, and I'm going to start to move it to where I think it should be better. So obviously in this one is like deadly center, so I'm going to go and move it, move the picture to be like, okay, this would probably look pretty good in my view. So therefore, because I hold on to shift, it keep the ratio no matter what. So I'm going to press enter, and I was like, wow, that looks way better for my view. So that's one you can actually just use. Always use the cropping of your photos. Now, on that note, just wanted to make a note of this. Is just that we always say, and in photos, like get it right into the camera, get your composition right, and it's like, yes, you can do that, and it's like it's always the major goal you want to do is that get it right into the camera because you want to save time as far as editing. But some people like me like to do some edits and then always manipulate my photos after the end. You can always take a shot, and you take a shot with your in mind that you're going to crop stuff out. You might crop it out because you don't like it, or you might not crop it out. So it's always good to have some photos, and that's why we say to you, take multiple frames, take multiple photos, because when you come back to start to edit into your computer, You might say, well, you know what? I really like the really tight crop that I just did right now. Or no, I want to have more details than that. I want to have more information to my photo. So therefore, if you have a photo into your set of series of photos that you took, you can actually have that choice. Otherwise, if you come back and you only have one photo and it's this one, it could be really good, maybe not that good. So you must like, oh man. Example would be like if you go to uh, France, like say you have the Eiffel Tower. You want to go take some photos of the Eiffel Tower. You take one good shot. Entire thing into the perspective and all that is really good. You come back home and you say like, man, I wish I would have had this and I wish I would have had that. So therefore, when I say to you, go take photos, that's the main reason why to say take multiple photos, not of the same thing, but into the same subject, but in different angle. So here's a one process you can take in order to take some good photos and start to use that cropping and always crop your photos, that as I always say. Is that you always use first part, first one, establishing shot. Means that you take a full, really like kind of wide photo and includes a lot of stuff, a lot of information maybe, okay? And you can take multiple of those guys from different kind of angle also. Then after that, you might want to go into section shots. So therefore, you take some shots of the same kind of landscape, but in section, like maybe into 5 photo series, because you never know what you're going to use. The next part is just that you start to get closer to your subject, and you get closer and closer, different angles, different perspective, different altitude, we can call it. So, and then you get closer and closer and closer to where you get to see the details. So if you can imagine that, you come back at a home, and instead of having like maybe 5 photos of the Eiffel Tower, you have maybe 50 or 60. Out of those 50 and 60, you might want to keep 5 of them, but they'll be really good 5 that you want to have. So it's always good to take a lot of photos, and keep in mind when you're taking photos is like you're going to crop them later on. But don't get into the bad habit of saying, okay, I'm going to take all those photos into big establishing shot and I'm going to crop it. And don't do that, okay? So obviously this was one cropping. I'm going to show you really quickly another one that you might want to play with. So if I go to my other files, these are from classes that we can take. And let me see, no, this one I don't want to show. So if I go to the develop module on this one, you take this photo, and then we'll see this one actually in the landscape editing that I'm going to use. If you use a crop tool, you can always so play, is because now it's starting to be popular with printing, and you can actually choose some different kind of printing, and then you can actually have like a really landscape, really long and narrow. So in this one, if you look at this, I'm just going to show, like maybe I'm going to go all the way over here and make this guy like you know, like a panel to show this over here. And you can actually just press onto enter, and it's like, oh, this is like kind of a different view, a different feel. And you can always go to the backspace onto your keyboard to see what that was before, if you hold on to it. Okay, no, sorry, the edits. I did some edits already. I mean that if you go back to the reset, that's what I meant. So here you can actually go back to the first part. So those are things you can play with to see that, hey, if I like this one over here, it's like there's a lot of sky in this one. I'm not so sure if I kind of like that blue. Is for me, as you all know, I don't like too much of blue skies. I love blue with really nice puffy clouds. So if I go in this one, I do this way, maybe like that. It's up to you. Press enter. And that's more interesting. And obviously, you need some photo edits, and then we're going to keep on doing that. So obviously, you get the ideas of cropping. You use this tool and use it as much as you can, and always think about it. Okay. So we'll go back to this one. So into the next one, we're going to be looking at removing either some distraction.